Hey guys, we're back in the kitchen, and this week I went shopping and found some beautiful bright red strawberries, and I thought what better way to use them up than in a beautiful Eton mess limoncello cheesecake. This one would be great to make for all the mums on Mother's Day that's coming up around the corner. So we're going to start off with our tin. I'm using a removable bottom one, and this is 8 inches. You can use a bigger one, but your crust will just be a little bit shallower. I really like to build my crust right up the sides. So I've got that with a little disc of greaseproof in the bottom. I'm going to move on to creating our biscuit base. So the best thing about a cheesecake is you can really sort of add any flavours to a basic recipe. So for the biscuit base, I'm going to be using some little amaretti biscuits, the nice little crispy ones, because they add a really nice sort of sweet flavour. And I've also just got some regular digestives. You want to use some lotus or ginger nut biscuits, they'd work great as well with strawberries. The easiest way to crush them, I find, is just put them into a freezer bag. Make sure you take all the air out of it. And then with a rolling pin or a meat hammer or a bottle of wine, whatever you've got, just bash them until you get a nice fine crumb. You could also just do it in a pan with a rolling pin. So once you've got a nice fine crumb, little note as well, make sure the bag's completely sealed and don't hit too hard. Otherwise you will get a hole and you will have biscuits everywhere. So just put that into a bowl, and we're going to add our melted butter and make some nice wet sand to create the base. So now we're ready to put our base into the tin. Now don't be alarmed about the amount of biscuits, there is a lot, but I just think this makes the cheesecake look so lovely when you take the crust up the edges. And plus as well, I can't stand the cheesecake that's all filling and no base. So I'm just going to push this out to get a nice even layer and really encourage the crust to come up the edges. So the base has all been pressed in nice and even. I'm going to put that into the fridge for 10 minutes just to chill so we can make a start on doing the filling. So the first thing we want to do for the filling for the cheesecake is to melt some white chocolate. So whenever you're melting chocolate in the microwave, you always do it in 15-second bursts. So what this just means is we put it in for 15 seconds, take it out, stir it, and keep on doing this until we get smooth, silky chocolate. If you were to put this in for 1 minute, 30 seconds, it's just going to burn straight away and leave a really bitter, horrible flavour. Another little point on white chocolate, make sure you're using something of good quality. It's one of the main ingredients, and cheap white chocolate can often burn very quickly. So the chocolate has been melted now and it's so smooth, ready for the next step. So, 2 important things to remember here. The cream cheese is to stay room temperature and the cream is to be cold from the fridge. Don't mix this up, it's an important step. The reason for this is the cream cheese has to be room temperature because it just makes it easier to whip up and incorporate the warm white chocolate into it. Whereas if the double cream was to get too warm, it's not going to have any stability, it's going to fall when we're trying to whisk it into stiff peaks. So into a bowl, I'm going to add my cream cheese. I've just done a little 50-50 mix of half mascarpone and half cream cheese. Just because I'm Italian, I've always got to make a twist on it, but cream cheese will work just fine. So that goes into the bowl. So next step, we've got our cold double cream. Make sure it's double. You will never be able to whip up single cream. There's just not enough fat in it. To do that, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of icing sugar. This just sort of helps add a little bit of sweetness and also helps stabilise the cream. So into the cream, I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then we're just going to whisk this up until we get nice, soft peaks. So the cream's been whipped and that's lovely and thick. We're going to set that aside. Now, back to our cream cheese mix. So we're going to add the white chocolate to this and we're going to whisk it in. You can just use the same mixes as before, add the cream on, no need to wash. Just make sure that your chocolate has cooled down since you've melted it. So mine's been out the microwave now for about 5 to 10 minutes and it's warm to the touch but it's not very hot. So this is the perfect temperature to add it in. So when we mix this in now, we don't want to overwork it in case we split the cream cheese. So just for about 20 to 30 seconds until the chocolate and the cream cheese is nicely combined. So now we're going to fold the cream into our cheese mixture. Now the easiest way to do this is if you take a small amount of the cream first and you can beat this in and you can be quite rough with the first bit just to sort of lighten all the mixture. And once you've got that all incorporated, we're going to gently fold in the rest of the cream in a folding motion. So we've mixed everything together, and now we're ready to pour it into our prepared tin and put it in the fridge to set. So this is ready to go into the fridge to set now. It needs to go in for a minimum of 5 hours. It's even better if you leave it overnight. So we're going to move on to the limoncello strawberries now. I absolutely love these, and I do them for a lot of desserts in the restaurant during the summer months because they're so fresh and delicious. So I'm going to go through my strawberries and pick the pretty ones. I'm going to keep them to decorate the top of the cheesecake. And I mean, no strawberries are ugly, but there are some that just don't make the cut for the top of the cake. And we're just going to sort of put them into a nice small dice. I'm going to put our strawberries into a bowl. I'm going to add a little sprinkle of ice and sugar, and I'm just going to cover them with some limoncello. Give them a little stir and just leave them to marinate for a couple of hours. It's as simple as that. The cheesecake is completely set. So the next part of this recipe, don't get freaked out by it, but we're going to need a tin and a hairdryer, okay? So you want to turn the cheesecake out, and the easiest way, because it's got a spring bottom, I'm going to put it on top of the can like that. And rather than destroying it, trying to push it down and wrecking all the lovely smooth edges, if you just take a hairdryer and put it onto a warm heat and gently apply heat all around the edge, we'll be able to slide it off. And don't worry if you don't have a hairdryer. You might be like my dad with no hair. You can just get a tea towel and hold it in some hot water and wrap that around. Now really carefully, I'm just going to release the sides and slide it down. So you can just see how beautiful that crust is. It comes all the way up the side. So now we are ready to decorate this and make it into an Eton mess cheesecake. So we've got our limoncello strawberries here. So I'm going to start spooning these on. I'm going to try and drain some of the liquid off, because if we're going to put the meringue on, we don't want them to go too soggy. So just scatter those on and keep any of that limoncello left over, because that will make the most amazing after dinner digestivo. So those beautiful strawberries we kept back before, I'm going to start building those up all around. And then after that, we're going to add some of our meringues. So I've just got some homemade mini meringues here, but you can just buy some store-bought ones. I'm going to keep some whole, but I'm also going to crumble some up, because after all, that is what an Eton mess is. Strawberry Eton mess cheesecake with limoncello strawberries. I hope you try this recipe at home. Thanks for watching.